Stay.
I've been on the Chickasaw Council of Elders. The Council of Elders serves the tribe legislatures and the governor on any cultural affairs. Elders are concerned about everybody in the tribe, not themselves. Our tribe had probably been here millennia, and we lost an awful lot when we left. For the opportunity to learn a little bit more, I, as an elder, felt an obligation. When our people left here, they left behind all of this way long before history and knowledge that needed to be passed on, would ordinarily be passed on through our elders to the young people in the tribe. And that was short-circuited by the Trail of Tears. The Walk of Life is roughly a 2-hour event from Tuscumbia Landing in Sheffield, Alabama, going roughly 2 miles on the old migration path to Tuscumbia, Alabama, Spring Park. The Walk of Life is more to bring the survivors from other tribes, and they're honoring their ancestors. We hang turkey feathers everywhere, and everyone who comes is given a turkey feather if they want it. We are out on Tuscumbia Landing, which is a historic Trail of Tears site where the Indians who were migrated to Oklahoma were brought here to put on a steamboat. Symbolically, we do not let feathers ever fall to the earth. They are our connection to the Creator. So if we can use this as a metaphor, anyone can use this feather to communicate to the Creator that our love for our ancestor, their ancestor, Indian ancestor, one who came and died on the Trail of Tears. Then when every person who wants to can find some spot out in the woods that's precious to them where they can hang their feather and say a short little blessing if they want to.
And now take your feather and just wherever you feel like it needs to go, that's where you hang it.
That feather is going to hang there all year long, blowing in the breeze. And when you got 300 people laying feathers all up and down a 2-mile route, people know you've been there. And it's like we're leaving our precious mark, and people know that we're doing this prayerfully, peacefully. I'm Robert Perry, Chickasaw. We're in Tuscumbia, Alabama. Not only was the town named for Tuscumbia, a Chickasaw warrior, there's what's called Cane Creek, where all the Chickasaw medicine plants still grow. And it was the most eastern boundary of the Chickasaws because they didn't want to give up a place that had their medicine plants before they were forced to leave. I was born in the Indian Hospital in Pawnee, Oklahoma. My wife died in Oklahoma. I got hooked up with Annie, who's been a resident of Tuscumbia most of her life except going off to school. No one from Oklahoma would come as of 2 or 3 years ago. And it's this fear. They would probably put us in jail if we came.
I was also nervous at first. I had people who tried to dissuade me from moving here. And it has been surprisingly amazing. I'm Angela Como. We are in Florala, Alabama at Hummingbird Springs Farm. The Muskogee name for our farm is Huthan Thajokwa Wije Honicha. We're creating an indigenous food forest from a 32-acre monoculture peanut farm. Growing up, my mother was an herbalist, and we practiced indigenous spirituality throughout my childhood. So I was taught to respect plants and animals in our environment.
We have a few endangered species on the farm that are federally protected. One of them is a gopher tortoise. We actually have a new gopher tortoise burrow here under this tree, which is really awesome. We've gained 20 more. So they're having babies and they're happy. So that makes me happy.
Oshio Nagadon, Wakanda Kehidohi, Goshiho, Nole, Seth Penn Dogodoon. My traditional name is Cowboy. My legal name is Seth Penn. I'm an enrolled citizen of the Cherokee Tribe of Northeast Alabama. I work for the tribe as their governmental affairs liaison, and I also work for the Indian Nations Conservation Alliance as their southeastern coordinator. Born and raised in northern Alabama, I've grew up here hunting, fishing, living off the land, active in the powwow community, in the more traditional Cherokee side of things as well. I like to say that I'm a student to who I am. Every day I spend time learning more about myself, learning more about my lineage, my legacy, who the Creator made me to be. And doing that as a Cherokee is an awesome opportunity because everywhere I'm at, it's like being in a living encyclopedia, you know. Godly, blackberries. This time of year, which it's right now, it's nearing the end of June, so they're just now starting to see a few of these ripe, and we use these in certain ceremonies, certain medicines. I think back on my childhood of picking these with my grandmother and my grandfather and eating them and making pies out of them and jams and everything. So every time I see Kanuga Kli, it reminds me of those good times, and I'm proud to see it and thankful for it.
We're actually at the western boundary where the Cherokee people, our ancestors, would have lived. And so the city of Huntsville was founded right here where we're standing, where what they call Big Spring, this was the name the Cherokee gave it. So ceremonially, you come to the place of water for prayers, you come for cleansing. I come here oftentimes when I'm seeking that, to clear my thoughts, to be with the Creator, let Him speak to me, let me hear His voice. This is my journal, though, of where I came here 444 times to pray. Obviously, I can't get in the water now. The city won't let me because of the duck and the geese and the E. coli.
You know, your own traditional land of some indigenous people group who've called that land home for forever. So figuring out ways for communities and cities and counties to reconnect with those tribes and revitalize their relationships with them and work for a better tomorrow that's sufficient and sustainable for everyone, that is really what we want to do.
The land itself is extremely beautiful. It's so abundant. There's all these traditional plants that we've been working with for millennia, and it was like they welcomed me home. All of the plants that we have here are extremely important and valuable, except the invasive species. But there are a few that are really culturally significant. For instance, Yopon holly, it's used for Muskogee ceremonial purposes. It's also the most caffeinated plant in North America, so folks actually use it as like a tea. Since we came out to the farm in 2020, we've planted over 2,000 trees. There's 27 different species that were fruit, nut, or medicinal or utilitarian.
This is just a year and a half's worth of growth on this tree that we put. They were bare root saplings, so they've gotten pretty big.
We involve the community in a lot of things that we do. We'll have events here. The workshops that we do are things like high tanning. We've had a seed casting workshop. We've had a beekeeping workshop. So it's regenerative agriculture as well as indigenous lifeways. And we don't charge for any of those workshops. And they're open to the general public. During the pandemic, we were able to witness how not secure our food systems are here in North America. That is more of a modern problem. However, to fix that modern problem, we can actually enact traditional indigenous lifeways and agricultural techniques in the way that we grow the food and we share in community with each other.
So here in the South, you know, there's a popular fad of my grandmother was Cherokee or my great-grandmother was a Cherokee princess. You know, that's something I've had to hear majority of my life, and that's something that's frustrating, you know, to me, to my family, to other members of our tribe, because we live and eat, sleep, and breathe being Indigenous people. Our people have existed on a communal base and in a relationship with the government pre-statehood. So how many of us are there today? Roughly around 3,000, which is a pretty valid and reasonable number. Yet we have other groups and tribes in different locations and areas that claim Cherokee identity, and they're in the multiple thousands, you know, 10, 15, 60,000 even, some of these numbers. To me, that's absurd and that's ridiculous. And that brings some validation to some of these arguments that, you know, federal tribes have against state recognized tribes of, well, there's not much integrity or credibility in your enrollment process.
More than $300 million in contracts intended for minorities were awarded to members of self-described Cherokee groups that are considered illegitimate by federally recognized tribes.
Let's be clear, that is the case in some instances, and we need to address that, fix that, and talk about that. But please do not throw us all into the same boat.
Some of us were just forced to walk this terrible walk to stay on a reservation in Oklahoma, and some of us were forced to hide in the mountains. Some of us were forced to hide in the countryside. Some of us were forced to stay behind.
Our people have always been connected to a particular place, a land. We were uprooted and moved away. And why would my ancestors stay here for 10,000 years if it wasn't for something special and more than just that the dandelions grew here?
Yes, we do want all the land back, but in reality, we know that can't happen. So land back can look a lot of different ways outside of that. That can look like allowing Indigenous people to tend land.
I just wanted to stop and show y'all this river cane right here. River cane is something that's extremely important to our people, to all the southeastern woodlands tribes, because we use this cane for basket making, arrow making, for mat making, and it's becoming harder and harder to find and harder to get it when we need it. So ensuring that tribes have access to this cane, that places where it's found are protected, that's extremely important.
Those farmers that have a patch of river cane can allow Indigenous people to come and access that river cane and take care of it and steward it in a good way.
The guy cutting this, he doesn't know that this is important to us. He's just doing his job, you know. It's nothing personal against him, but when I come out here and I see a cane patch that I know how hard to find and I see it cut in two, that's pretty disappointing and pretty hurtful, you know, to me as someone who relies on this and also relies on finding it and sustaining it for my community so that we have it to use when we need it.
All of the tribes would appreciate having a piece of the land that used to be their homeland. All of the tribes in Oklahoma, they have their budgets 10 years out already. They know where every penny is going to be spent, whether or not they have a casino or not. It would be helpful to have a grant.
We would like to create a land trust to prevent this land from being developed or sold into the future. We would like to build traditional buildings out here for people to live off the land and learn how to live off the land. So we hope even in not the physical space of Hummingbird Springs, but the things that we teach here can also be carried on 7 generations into the future.
As Cherokee people, we're 7 generation minded. 7 generations before us is what we're dealing with right now, and 7 generations after us, they'll deal with what we're doing right now. A lot of the banks and streams you see are eroding because they spray or cut the banks. Basically, their methods of management are, once it's too tall for their comfort or ideology, they'll spray. You know, there's a lot of invasives here on this bank. There should be cane. There's hardly any cane down here. There's just a lot of native plants and even, you know, aquatic and non-aquatic species that should be found here in this area that you're not going to see very much of, just because of stream pollution from runoff and chemicals from all of these homes, impervious surfaces that can't, you know, filter out the water, and it just runs right off into the streams. It's just crazy to sit here and think about the change that I've seen just in my lifetime to this stream. So if it's changed that much, you know, just in 10, 15 years, what would that change look like 50, 60, 100 years? what's this stream going to look like by the end of my lifetime, you know, or after my life? This is something that doesn't just affect us as Indigenous people. Who drinks water? Who needs water to live? Anything that lives does. Water affects every single person on this planet. Air affects every single person on this planet.
I think it's very important to work with our community, other BIPOC folks and other coalitions. Division is sown purposely because we're stronger together.
And oftentimes we find just how similar we are. The struggles, the circumstances, and even beyond that traditionally, our cultures, our languages, our histories, our origin stories. So much of what we have as minority people are oftentimes, you know, right alongside of each other.
I'm very hopeful, you know, that my prayer journey here, those 444 days of prayer, the Cherokee ancestors that came here to be with Creator, we could have set times when the water has been tested, it's purified, it's cleansed, to do public baptisms once again.
I'm thankful to my elders and those whom go before me so I can stand on their shoulders, and I encourage all of you who come after me to stand on mine and do everything that I couldn't do and do a lot more than I could do while I was here.
We are our ancestors' wildest dreams, and we're still here.
I know from all of my people behind me that they've been able to do this, and I can too. Watch me.